would like to call the Thursday, May 30th, 2017 meeting of the Board of Health to order. This is a public hearing. That's a continuation of the public hearing that started on May 22nd. And the clerk.
Actually, I don't believe I need to read this again. I can summarize it quickly if you'd like for anybody watching. Mr. Seda submitted a plan to us for a development on the property that he owns on 41 East Main Street. The original plan was last fall, which we did approve. He since has changed the plan. He came to us with it. We looked at it and felt that there was significant change, that it required a public hearing. So we had one last week, and you had several questions with regards to things on it. So we continued the public hearing. The Board of Health, for anybody watching, has health district regulations. We did this because we protect the drinking water, and this project is in our Zone 2 for Grove Pond wells. The town of Ayer has spent considerable money over the past few years looking for other well sites. We didn't find any, so we developed these regulations to protect both our wells at Spectacle Pond and Grove Pond. So that about sums it up.
Okay. So at the May 22nd public hearing, was the first evening of this process, we reviewed the drawings, and we also reviewed the operation and maintenance plan for this property that are, it's required to make sure that all of the mitigations for, the impervious surface that you have on the lot, the impact of those are being mitigated as much as possible. And I think we got as far as, reviewing the plan itself. There, was just a change to the depth of the gravel that underlays this, and that was to comply with the Mass Stormwater requirements. And we were primarily focused on the operation and maintenance plan and what would be necessary in that operation and maintenance plan in order to ensure us going forward that we've got adequate protection for the aquifer. So sequence of events is I received from Neil from Ross & Associates, I think this came in on last Friday, is that right? Just last Friday? The revised operation and maintenance plan?
Thursday or Friday.
Thursday or Friday of last week. And we had requested some modifications to make it a little bit clearer what has to be done and how often it should be done and how the record should be kept. And that's particularly important for this property because it's not an owner-occupied. It's not intended to be owner-occupied. The buildings will be individual condos, and this operation and maintenance will be subsequently taken over by either the individual homeowners or the condo association. So it's important that we have some, a good chain of documentation here to make it clear to the ultimate owner, maybe a year or two down the road, what's expected of them. So we had, just in discussion, we didn't have anything written down. We talked about some changes to be made to the plan. I received that modified plan and sent back to Neil this morning just a list of comments that I said I'd like to discuss tonight. And that is in this document that I think you both have, right? So this lists out just a number of points that I'd like to discuss specifically with relation to the O&M plan, and then just a few points that I wanted to clarify so that we all understand that these will be conditions of the special permit should that be the outcome of this meeting or some subsequent meeting that we decide to grant a special permit. So we usually have some public input in the beginning. I see we've got some people here. If either of you have anything that you would like to say in general that relates to this, you can speak now. And you
related just to this, with the plan itself. I was away in December. I'm the abutter next door, 49 East Main Street.
Okay.
I would have no way would I have let that go on if I had known that. We have terrible parking over there, and the drainage for the water, the road. You just did a nice job on the road, put sidewalks in, and I mean, there's no room for snow parking or anything else over there on Pond Street. I don't know how they were able to do that. Obviously, I wasn't here in December.
This hasn't been reviewed by the planning board yet. The sequence of events for a special, if for anything that happens in the Aquifer District, is Board of Health reviews and makes a determination on whatever impact this may have on the aquifer, and stormwater is part of that. So we then make a ruling and can issue a special permit that doesn't give the project the right to go forward. It still needs to be reviewed by the planning board. Yes.
If I just may add, it had gone to, we went to December, we went to the planning board thereafter, I think in January.
Mm-hmm.
They had reviewed it, we got comments. Their concern was parking.
Yeah.
That's why this plan has been changed. So the parking before only had one garage spot for the new units. These have 2 garage spots for each unit.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, it has been looked at by the planning board, but this latest version will not be taken up with them until we have completed our process with the board.
Neil, I think that was the zoning board you were at.
No,
You were at the zoning too.
We went to the planning board, and their concern was
Parking.
because they have a regulation that you can't park within 10 feet of your building.
Correct.
You can't count that as a parking spot.
Correct.
So we went to the zoning board of appeals to see if they would entertain a variance to that, which they said no. Or we were getting the fuzzy feeling they were going to say no.
Yeah,
you're right.
At which point we
You're right, because I was there.
withdrew without prejudice and understood where they stood and said we'll go back to the drawing board and revise the plan accordingly, which is where we stand today. We asked them to look at it. They said please go back to the Board of Health first.
Yeah.
And you heard the rest of it.
Right.
Yeah, so this meeting, being a Board of Health meeting, is really just related to the concerns about the aquifer, and what's rolled into that is stormwater management, because that does affect the aquifer. There is a permeable paver system. They are covering more than the allowable 15% of the property. But they are mitigating that through the use, there's a couple of things. There's some catchment and infiltration systems for roof runoff and so forth. There's
So they're going to use the gutter system for that and bring the water where?
On site. Every drop of water that hits site is staying on site.
Nothing
is going into the town roadway, if you want a summary of it. We
Yeah,
are required to keep all stormwater on site and mitigated on site. Not a drop is proposed to go off the site.
If you'd like to look at the larger set of drawings that we have so that you can understand it, you're certainly welcome to. It's going into a trench.
They're called Cultec systems.
Yep.
The water drips off the roof into trenches along the foundation, which are then piped to Cultec drainage systems. Here, 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 and here.
And will there be another hearing on this, as I can have a civil engineer look at this?
The town engineers looked at it.
Well, I can have my own civil engineer also, right?
Yeah, I guess you could.
And you, just to be clear, you own the property at
49.
49.
So both those
Right here.
driveways are dumping into my,
Again,
Oh, right, okay, that jumps to 49.
That's
All right,
correct.
right, because of that.
Again, I
yeah,
reiterate that the grading is such that no water is coming from the site to Pond Street.
I got you.
Yeah.
your proposed grading.
The proposed design is such that no water from our site is going on to Pond Street, Oak Street, or East Main Street. as accepted by and approved by
But the buildings have taken up quite a bit of square footage on the lot, so there's not a lot of place for that drain water to go to.
We're proposed engineering-wise, it's all staying on site. And the DPW town engineers reviewed it and agreed to such. We provided the town with a multi-page drainage analysis, which they've gone through extensively and agreed and approved that, not approved, but had written down stating that it meets mass stormwater standards.
I see where you are. Do you live in that property?
No, I do not.
Okay. And the parking for that property. Sorry, get off the screen here a little bit. You have, I know you have the walkway in here. Okay, you have a driveway back here. Okay.
Driveway
I got
is here,
Okay.
and this is a very, very tight road.
Oh, I know.
Now,
I
they have
live
these
back here, so I
sidewalks.
come out this way.
So, I applied for my permit for this driveway.
I got
And
you.
there is just no, you can't even back out. Now, in town, we're allowed to park on the streets, but once they do this, we can't even park. There isn't anywhere to park at all.
This is a really, I know
This is,
a narrow
this
street.
is
I
a
know.
very, very narrow street.
Okay, and then this house
This is
has the
this is
driveway
a
too.
three-family house here,
Yeah.
and he has
It's
an
not our
existing
issue.
driveway
I
here.
got you.
And if I'm not mistaken, her from back there, she's from over here. That's the condo building there.
And so this is an
These
area
are the
that
two
you might be
driveways,
interested
each
in.
one has a two-car garage.
Yeah,
Each unit has a two-car garage.
so this is gonna be though a one in front of one,
So it's
No,
24 feet.
side by side.
side by side?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
You're a better driver than I am. Side by
It's
side in there. Wow. So these areas, this
Are just
is
for
this
maneuvering.
permeable paving system that we're talking about.
Historically, the pavers don't stay, especially with a motor vehicle on them, they rock. I've seen it, I have a contractor's license too, so I've been
Yeah, I know
involved in a
what you
lot of
mean,
this stuff, and those don't hold up. So what might be good today, we're gonna have to deal with later on, and if the association, or whoever lives there then decides to try to hot top it later, then that's gonna be a problem.
But that's what the operation and
Yeah.
maintenance plan, that was what they came back tonight with.
That's a lot of what we're
yeah.
talking about here
That's
tonight.
a lot of paving, that's 1,200 square feet, it's what, 10 by, it's quite,
Let's see if we have, do we have an extra copy of the,
I gave two
operation
designs here.
maintenance
He
plan,
has two
or
copies here.
The plan?
if you'd be willing to share your copy with the abutter just to
Wait a
review
minute.
during
I
the
can lay
meeting.
it right out
Sure.
here, I'm good.
Well, not so
But I
much
think we can
that,
also see the
wants to see it
O&M
in writing. That's what you want to
This
say.
is a lot of what we're gonna talk about.
Yep.
Okay. Let me see if
Or if the office is still open next door.
20 feet.
here.
I have-
10 by 20.
Ah, okay.
Do you have?
This is too.
Yes, I'm
He's got
sorry.
an extra one.
Covered
I made adjustments based on your comments earlier.
Okay.
So I have a latest and greatest version of the O&M right here.
Ah,
And I
okay.
have an extra copy for the butter if you'd like to.
Okay, okay, great, and that's probably
I
even the
think
better
that's
one to
it.
look at.
That would probably answer the
So
questions.
this is the 530.
That's what we're looking at closely tonight, that they've come back with, more so than the blueprints.
This actually was, I think, from. Yeah, I think it did come in on Thursday, you're right. This would have been the 525.
So with pavers, we also have leaking motor oil from vehicles and things
Right.
like that, which go right into our aquifer.
Right, that's why Mr. Sater and
I
his
explained that on
associate.
sheet 3, there
Right.
is a detail of the specific courses of material that go below the pavers. It's not just pavers on, you know,
Crushed stone, or you put in
topsoil,
something,
there's there's 4 layers of material below the pavers that are proven by the University of New Hampshire and accepted by the Mass Stormwater Standards, saying that these will properly infiltrate and recharge any groundwater going through these pavers. Again, in accordance with the Mass Stormwater Management Regulations and okayed and approved by the the Ayer DPW town.
Gotcha.
The one minor adjustment that was brought up last week, that the filter course be increased from 8 inches thick to 12 inches thick.
Yeah, and I see. you did
One of the
that.
details we had said 8 to 12, so 12 is fine.
Yeah.
We agreed that that's,
Slide down to 12.
makes sense.
So I'm gonna give the abutter a minute to read through the.
Yeah.
Oh, you keep going.
We have the advantage of, we've all been looking at
The rest of the
this.
calculations, again, a percolation test was performed on site. We have gravity course material that receives water at a rate of greater than or faster than 2 minutes per inch, which again is the baseline in which all the drainage calculations were put together for 2, 10, and 100-year storm. And it was proven that the site as left alone right now produces a higher rate of, or less of a chance, less opportunity to recharge than what we're proposing with all this proposed construction. We actually are improving the recharge value of the entire site. And if you're skimming through, if you want, Dan, I can just mention to you on this part, this new
Yep.
operation. You
Revised
can
one?
see in the 3rd paragraph down in the bold lettering, I added that information. Well, that paragraph has been modified from the previous one that you read. And again, trying to make this as simple to follow as possible.
Okay, so we've got the keeping
Okay.
the records, and we can look at that.
The comment on the ongoing wording.
Yeah,
I changed those except for the one regarding the minimum salt in winter months.
yeah, okay.
So the other ones have been modified. Again, the goal, I guess, to give a quick summary of it is, here's the operation and maintenance plan. The bottom of page 1, all of page 2, 3, and 4, all the way to section 2. Talks about, here are the important criteria, how to maintain each one of those
Yeah.
stormwater management systems. By adding that bold note stating that the first year they'll be monitored on a monthly basis and reported back.
Yeah,
Changed to quarterly in year 2. And then after year 2, in perpetuity, these inspections shall be performed in the frequency mentioned in those comments.
okay,
Okay, so all of them are required to be monthly the first year.
all right,
So the frequency listed in the tables is a perpetuity after year 2.
okay.
Does that make sense?
I see, yep, it does.
And I mentioned that the reporting would be the first year monthly to the Board of Health,
Okay.
quarterly, year 2. And after year 2, records are to be kept and provided to the town if requested by the town.
Okay,
And that note is in greater detail in section 3, the last paragraph. Said all inspection and maintenance records shall be made available for review within 30 days of written request submitted via United States Postal Service certified mail by the town of Ayer or by the Ayer Board of Health, Ayer Department of Public Works, or any other qualified town official.
okay, good.
So it gives at least both sides the opportunity to be properly notified and have a
Yep.
time frame in which to provide those reports.
Okay, good.
Just like where that whole timing came from is if the Board of Health has an issue with someone's septic system, they usually say, come see us within 30 days.
Yeah, yeah, I don't mind,
So again, I was
you know,
just-
that's reasonable,
And if
yeah.
somebody's out of town, you know, likewise, it's,
Yep, okay.
it seems like a fair time frame.
I think that is perfectly reasonable. I thought at our last meeting, what we had talked about for frequency was that we were going to do all of this for the first 2 years, so we get 2 full seasons.
Of
'Cause
monthly reports?
Yeah, because you never really know in your first year if you have a really mild, it never rains, you have a really mild winter, so that's kind of why I wanted to see two years worth done this way, rather than switching to,
Well, the first year, usually there's a lot of growing going on, especially with the lawns and so on, so the monthly seems adequate. After year one, the growth of the vegetation is matured enough that really looking at it on a quarterly basis. And again, some of these things still have to be done on a monthly basis, but the reports only need to be provided to you quarterly. That's what I was proposing.
okay.
You follow what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
monthly
I do.
inspections of, you know, sweeping and all that and
Yeah,
removing the
yeah.
vegetation. But the actual report submitted to the Board of Health would just be done 4 times a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
Follow
so
what I'm
you're
saying?
still going to do.
Those
yeah,
things
yeah,
are done,
yeah,
but
yeah.
the reports are only submitted quarterly. just
Now
for the
we're
whole-
on the same page, yeah,
Just all
okay.
for the whole paperwork aspect of it.
Okay. All right, I got you.
That makes sense?
It does,
Okay.
yeah, now I'm on the same page.
So it's a gradual, then after year 2, the records will be kept by the property owner and provided
Yeah.
upon the town's request.
Okay,
So that'll give it 2 years of the town's really monitoring what's going on.
I see, yep, that works for me.
Okay.
Okay, so you're still gonna do it monthly. Than just quarterly reporting in the second year.
And again, with the Board of Health being the governing body of the special permit, you know, I'm sure you have the, I mean, I don't, as a government agency, you have the right to monitor that if the year 1 doesn't go well, so,
Yeah, exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
it's- as you said,
Okay.
we can't predict the weather.
So we clarified ongoing, all right, got that. I also saw, I think my eye caught where you distinguished that this grass is not the same as that grass.
Right.
Okay.
Grass
got
swales
it.
near the driveway, or the grass is a little bit longer to help with the infiltration. The lawn
Yeah.
areas are to be mowed, so what I've
Yeah,
done
okay, yeah.
is I've distinguished the definition of
I
lawn.
kind of thought that's what it was supposed to be. The swales are one thing, the
So
lawn
in
is
section
another.
1EA,
Yeah.
it talks about lawns and it says not the grass swales, so they'll know the difference between the two.
I gotcha. Okay, so we got that. The after storms.
Yeah.
Okay, what did we do about after storms?
All right, so I
see it
changed the
as-
wording, it says after each rainstorm, and then there's an asterisk, so if you go
Yeah,
to the end of section 1, there's an asterisk defining what a rainstorm
Right here.
shall be defined as.
okay. Rains predicted to last 12 hours, and storms which flash flood warning, watchable warnings issued. Single storm predicted to have a cumulative rainfall of greater than 1/2 inch. Please serve for like a third consecutive day of measurable rainfall. That's a definition.
Complete.
That's what I was looking for.
All right.
Does that mean if it sprinkles or if it
Right.
pours or? All right. Okay. Sealants.
I add that note to the,
Anything, do not use sealants or any other
I
surface
saw that,
treatments that could clog the gaps between the pavements. Yes. All right. And I saw it on the drawing. That's, is it also in the plan somewhere? Or? I guess the
I
drawing.
used it on the appendix C, the sign.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
and,
used sealants or other surface treatments that could cause gaps between pavers,
yeah, I guess,
so it is there.
yeah, it is there. And the appendices are referenced, I see a reference to appendix A.
Appendix C is referenced at the end of section,
Yeah, appendix C for the, okay, so that's incorporated by reference, I think.
So are you putting those in with sand sand? Is that what you're proposing?
Crushed
You're not-
limestone is what the,
No, in between the pavers, you would put
exactly,
sand
crushed
down.
limestone is what the
Yeah,
manufacturer
it's what-
recommends.
the paver manufacturer recommend. I thought that was odd too. I always thought it was sand, but they're saying crushed limestone. Which, okay, I'll ask you the question I asked them. I'm not an expert. Doesn't crushed limestone turn into cement?
That's gonna pool the water. That's absolutely gonna pool the water. Those pavers, they're gonna pool the water. They
Do you
might
have
not.
science to
Yeah,
show us that?
come on, really?
Well,
They're
that's
gonna
what
pool
we're
it.
being required to provide the commission. We're providing exactly what the manufacturer recommendations are asking for. We're not,
Those
I'm
are
not,
gonna
I'm not the designer of those systems. We're implementing an engineered design, so.
They're gonna pool.
This is what we were given, if you want to look at. the
Yeah, there's actually
manufacturer's-
several pages of that.
Just
We didn't print out
at
the whole
top,
thing.
What, that's their description of the material that they're using, and it allows for.
Yeah, because you discussed that a lot last
Right.
time.
Yeah, we did. And I gotta say, it sounded weird to me too.
Even though the description says that it allows for,
It will still pool
Filtration.
once it's saturated. It's gonna pool this. The lots, you're not leaving any ground. You're not leaving enough ground around that. It's not like there's one of those and the ground can suck it up. That those buildings are on the whole footprint of the lot.
I see what you're
There's,
saying.
you're not, and the buildings are so close together, the water, I mean, running off the roofs together, even if you put in gutters, the gutters are gonna, they're gonna, where you gonna put them? You do a dry, you dig in a
Again,
dry
you
pit?
have, sir,
I
if
see what
you
you're saying.
read the plan, there's infiltration trenches along the foundation which will collect the roof runoff. There's no gutters. There's a pipe within those trenches that receive the water. They go through a solid pipe out to the infiltration Cultec chambers that are designed in accordance with the standards and their calculations required for that size roof.
Okay.
So, again, the goal
Like a
is,
septic system almost, but for.
in essence, but for stormwater.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, again, the regulations, the zoning in Ayer requires 50% open space.
You're right, 50% open space.
Well, our
You also need
calculations.
100 feet of frontage per one lot. And
Again,
in
we're
all
not
existing
creating
buildings,
lots,
when you
sir.
add units to
We're not
existing,
adding lots.
supposed to put in sprinkler systems too, but you're turning them into condos to avoid that.
No, they're two-family dwellings such that we don't need sprinklers, correct? Once you're at 3 units, yes, you need sprinklers. So the building code, if we're at 2 units per structure, you do not need indoor sprinkler systems.
And
Again, which is
That'll
not
be
a board
for
of health
zoning,
issue.
That's
that'll
not-
be for zoning.
yeah, that's, you're right, that's not
And the
our,
zoning calculations of the 50% open space, that's a zoning issue as
Right.
well,
not us.
not the board of health.
But the issue that we have, which is why they need the special permit, is that in the aquifer district, you can only have 15% of your total lot be impermeable, which includes anything that's covered by a building, you know.
And to go around
Blacktop,
that is why
yeah.
they're doing pavers.
I'm not going around it.
Permeable.
It says in their regulations that if it's 15%, if it's 15% under, you don't have to do any mitigation.
That's right.
If it's over 15%, you need to provide some type of recharge system,
Right.
which is what we're providing. If it was under 15, I wouldn't do any of it.
Do you also take into consideration where the snow removal will go for those? Because that sand and salt from the town
I know.
goes into the groundwater, and if it's on the street, it goes into the sewerage system, and it's treated that way. This here, I mean, where they're gonna put the snow with the salt from their driveway, they're gonna salt the driveway and pull it out onto the street, where they can put it.
To
It's
the
only
ends,
leaving
left and
50.
right.
There's no, you're,
There's room to go
you're
right off
talking
the
not
ends of
even-
each driveway.
Very few feet.
Oh, there's quite a bit. Not as much between
I
but
plow.
on the edge.
I plow across the street, so no,
It's
really,
pretty tight in between.
it's real tight. I
Yeah.
can't even back my truck out of my driveway because I bump into his lot. But I'll make sure I'm at the zoning.
Yeah, that's like 10 feet, right? Between the, is it 10 feet
Between the
buildings?
buildings.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit more like
Yeah.
14 between the two.
yeah, you got a little more between the driveways.
There's about 11 feet on that side of the driveway to the property line, and on this end, you have 22 feet, more or less.
So 10 feet is from there to here to do a 1,200 square foot lot to push the snow with the sand and the salt.
That's the smaller side. There's the other side too.
The other side, so 22 feet, I didn't see 22 feet, but
From on this end. it's
20, yeah, no, it's probably 22 feet to the sidewalk, but are you gonna push it right up into the sidewalk?
No, we can't do that.
No, it's going.
well, where else are you gonna put it then? You've got two driveways there.
If you have
You've got 4 cars parking in that paver area.
There's 4
How are
cars
you
parking
going
in
to?
the- They're parking in the garages, not in the driveways.
Oh, so each unit only gets 1 parking spot?
Each unit has 2 indoor parking spots, which
Front,
is
are they
minimum,
front to back or side by side?
side by side.
So there's gonna be a bylaw that they're not gonna be able to keep the cars out on those pavers?
No. Do you have one for your house?
I don't have pavers.
Do you have a restriction on where you park your car?
On my own house, no, I do not.
Okay.
But this is different. You're taking up, we're only supposed to have 15%, you're taking up more than a 15% lot. So if cars are sitting
No,
there.
I can have up to 50%
No,
structure.
no. That's zoning.
Okay.
For aquifer, it's 15%.
And
So
if you,
forget
and
50.
again, and if you're over 15%, you need to provide
Right.
adequate
But I'm
recharge,
glad we're
which we've
having
done.
this conversation because if you have cars packed on that surface, it's not effectively a permeable surface. It's only effectively a permeable paving
It's-
system if it remains with
If it
nothing
hits your
on top
car
of
and
it.
drips off, it's gonna go through that same area. Once it gets in there, it spreads out. It doesn't stay in one spot.
Thank you.
But it's not falling on the area that's under your car. It's as if you took whatever the square.
And when
Footage
you pour
of
water
car
onto that
is.
area, it sheets over and fills into those voids.
Even uphill from it, it's going to be part.
It's gonna spread out just like any infiltration system. It doesn't stay in that one spot and go straight down. It infiltrates throughout. That's why you have all those different media courses.
We already have that.
Oh, okay. I thought I gave it to Neil had 5 copies.
So essentially, there could be 8 cars parked on the permeable area. And you don't feel that will have any effect on the drainage?
I think there realistically could be because
I
that
got a
to
barn.
me looks
I don't
like
park
a
in my
really
barn.
tight, yeah,
The barn's
tight
full of
fit for
junk.
side by side. And I can see wanting to use that for storage.
Well, not only that, but we're gonna plow the snow. You're gonna pull it right out on the street. And you can't even put it anywhere out on the street. Because we're right on East Main Street. You can't push it across and you can't push it down with the elderly housing.
Why don't we wait till we see what happens when somebody has
So
to-
after you build it and then there's a problem.
Yeah, that's
Then
not
you
the,
have to remove it.
that's not the time
Just
to
like
do it.
any other place, if you have more than enough snow you can store on property, then you remove it.
Are you interested in having your civil engineer review this?
I can, yeah. Yes, actually I can.
You had your town engineer review it. That's like a peer review. He's not part of
No,
Ross
he's
Associates.
not.
He's part
He's-
of the town.
That's not the review he's doing. He's looking at it to say, yeah, it meets the
And he's
stormwater
in the
requirements.
DPW department wondering if there's an issue with DPW, and they have also
We-
signed off on it.
But we can require a separate detailed peer review of this at your expense. Be happy that somebody else wants to pay for it.
I understand, but we've been,
And
This has been
remember
processed.
from the beginning, and I think Neil just repeated it, that given the way the site is now and what's been proposed, we've still made the infiltration ability of the site greater than what it is today, even if we did nothing. So, we've made some huge steps in the right direction to make this project more than work. So, given that fact, it still is better than it is today.
That's not true, because you're gonna have sand and salt that you're now gonna plow into the lot once it's occupied. Right now, there's no sand, salt, or push snow into that lot, but there will
But
be.
no one says how the snow pattern is gonna be plowed. I mean, there's conjecture here, and I plow snow also, so isn't there a way to push it and keep it on the property? Absolutely. Is there room for it? In most cases, yes. Is there one tight spot between the two driveways, and will it need to be removed if necessary? Absolutely, as any other property owner does. So we're talking about circumstances that aren't unique to this site. Those are true to any site. And the ability to store snow and where to push it, by town law, you can't push it out on the street. And that's not where it's gonna go. It's gonna go in off the street.
In 10 feet of space.
Into the empty corners of, on each side of the driveway where there's 3 spaces.
This discussion is over.
But the key is that we're handling snow and a situation that's not unique to this site.
No, but what is unique to this site is the coverage of so much of the site
But
in
we've
that
made
frequency.
accommodations for it, Pam, if I
I
understand.
know that, but
Then what is it then?
I should have thought about this sooner, the packing of cars in the driveway. But I think that is a really interesting point, that if people, yes, they have the ability. So maybe there is enough room to pack side by side. There's nothing requiring them to pack in their garages. Should they choose to use their garage for storage and pack in the driveway because that's easier, then I think that does affect, you could conceivably
But
have 8
the
cars.
water still comes off the vehicles and lands on, the footprint of a car at a maximum of 16 by 5.5 feet across is 80 square feet. So yeah, there's gonna be some in that spot where that car sits, but the water will run off like it does on the sides, the front,
But
and the
if
back.
you have enough cars packed in that area, now you've got all of the rain that's falling on the square footage of those cars coming very quickly down onto a very small area of the permeable surface. So that's not
Then you have the
really.
4 courses of material underneath. That's
I know
the
that.
drainage
That's
system.
why I think it
And it
makes.
gets in there and spreads out.
To
It doesn't
me,
stay in one
I think
spot.
it makes tremendous sense to get a peer review of that issue. And I think that's one of the questions that should be asked, is what happens now if you have cars packed in the driveway? What is the limit? Where do you hit the limit of this
But
system
isn't that
is no
what this
longer
is for?
capable?
These are designed to have vehicles parked on them. I don't see they probably, again, we don't have maybe this in these details.
Well, but they're not only designed for that. They're designed for patios. They're designed for walkways. They're also used in areas where there are not necessarily cars packed on top
Yeah,
of
but there's tables that are impervious that the water drips off. Again, the whole idea is the water is going to drip into those systems. It might be, the pavers right under the driveway, under the car might be dry, just like
Yep.
in any driveway. But once it gets into that subsurface below is where it all spreads out.
It does this.
I saw a video of them pouring 5,000 gallons of water on a porous pavement, which again, we've talked is a similar situation.
Yeah.
That water disappears within between me and Jane and goes into the system. And if they were to dig it up, it's going to be spread out. 5,000 gallons, looks like it poured in this area.
Yeah,
But once
no,
it gets subsurface, it spreads out.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
And I do hope that is the case, because that would certainly allow you to move forward. I really would like to get another review. I'd like to have the review consider the impact of cars, because it could be a condition of this special permit that there's no parking on those pavers.
Was any of this addressed in the DPW?
No. No.
So is this would,
That's-
in essence, this is going to delay any other decision on the Board of Health? Is that what I'm hearing?
I really think it's the smartest thing to do, because it's totally unrealistic to say, go ahead and build it, and then if we have a problem, we'll make you tear it up. Because then what are you going to do? The buildings are already there.
you're gonna impact 4 other families in each unit.
The permeable paver driveway calculations are taking into account that they would normally have cars in it. We're providing the car spaces in the garage because of zoning purposes. We cannot park a car between the building and there for our 2 parking spaces.
Do you have some supporting information to back that up?
That's what these pavers driveway surfaces that the UNH talks about is, the understanding is the cars are sitting on those and the water is going in through the cracks of the things, getting into the media below and spreading out. It's the total surface area. If we put a big tent over this and the water were to hit and go off and not hit permeable paver, yes, then we have an issue. But if there's a car parked in between those, that's how it works. Porous pavement is used on a lot of sites that have poor drainage for parking lots. Their calculations are assuming cars are parking in the parking lot, hitting the car, dripping off, getting into the pavement, and then spreading out subsurface.
But those are oftentimes true permeable pavers, where you have grass or something growing actually in the
That's what we're
the
providing.
grid.
These are permeable. They have the notches in between. Those cracks are going to stay open other than the material that's in
That's
between.
different from a semi-porous system where you actually have vegetation that's growing in. You know what I mean? They're
I'm
frames.
talking about the porous pavement that you can buy, asphalt that's porous.
Yep. Yep.
Correct? Not pavers, just
Right.
solid.
Which we're not
you
using
just
here,
stand on
so
it,
it
you
really
look like
isn't
you're
relevant.
standing on a paved surface.
Yep.
That's porous. That's how they're made.
Yep.
The water goes into that same infiltration system we're providing under the pavers, gets in there and spreads out.
I think
Pavers
that
on top is providing that same ability for the water to go through the initial surface into the subsurface that is being, again, it's not just what's on site, it's 4 layers, 2 feet of material
So if
underneath.
cars leak oil onto those pavers, they go into our aquifer.
No, those pavers are there to design to clean that, so when the water comes through that
That's
system,
water, I'm
it's
talking
recharged.
oil, grease, stuff from
That's
cars,
what they're
probably
designed.
transmission fluid,
Just like
any of that stuff.
my septic system, I flush my toilet and it goes out into a system that recharges that water and
It's the
cleans
media
it.
But it doesn't take care of debris, salts, oil, grease, all those things in motor vehicles.
yeah, it's not going to catch
It's
salt.
the same information that they would use under the porous paver parking lots that UNH
Do we
is.
have any around here?
I don't know,
Do
but
you know any in the area in Middlesex County that we may be able
there
to,
are some that our office has proposed. I can't give you a specific.
but you don't have
site.
any that were done?
Yes, we have some that are done. I just don't know what site it is right now to tell you where it is right now. Yes, and it's a proven technology. If you go onto the UNH website, that's where.
UNH, is that the college UNH, University of?
Okay, University of New Hampshire. If you go to the Mass Stormwater Standards, management book, they reference the
This is
UNH.
Massachusetts, that's New Hampshire, but go on.
May I finish my statement,
Sure.
sir? In the Mass Stormwater Management, it references the UNH criteria as their basis, and that's the same information that's mentioned right here. Again, so Mass Stormwater references the UNH testing area as a proven technology as accepted in Massachusetts.
But we don't know where it's been used yet. You don't know where it's been used here yet.
It's Mass state law, the stormwater says I can use it. Why can't I use it?
And I'm sure it's
Because you
mentioned, but we
use
just don't know the exact address.
In this situation, you're taking up more than 15%. So you're asking us to use this. Anyway,
It's referenced and chosen as acceptable in the Massachusetts Stormwater Management Plan. That's what we're
Stated
using.
by
That
the
we have,
state.
none of us have
Governed by the
anything else
state.
to use but that management plan, that stormwater management plan. They set the criteria.
well,
and
you're
the requirements.
asking to have that used so that you can cover more than 15% of the aquifer.
No,
for
it's
the
used
Board
in
of
other
Health.
applications, but in this instance, because
But in
we're
this
over
instance, you're using it
15%,
for,
we're-
because you're over 15%. If you were under 15%, it wouldn't be that much of an issue. So if you only had one building, it wouldn't be that much of an issue because you wouldn't be covering or possible contaminating the groundwater.
Again, it's
But there's-
been proven to remove the total suspended solids according to Mass Stormwater Management policies, which
Okay.
is what we have to go by.
I would like, because I think this is the best way that we can provide protection for our aquifer, I would like to get a peer review I would like to have a civil engineer look at this and look at the possible implications of having automobiles packed on that surface. And what then does that do to, is the paver system still providing what we need it to do?
I'm confident of it.
That, okay, so then don't fear it, you'll have no problem.
Well, I just fear the time frame. We've been going at this for
I
quite a
understand.
while, and
But when this was submitted, that was not taken into consideration by our DPW and their engineers? When they saw the same plan?
Yeah, haven't we been
Not in any
enough
discussion
gatekeepers
that I
at
had
this
with
point?
Matt. Mac's looking at the paving system, this business, this part of it. And he's looking at the recharge trenches and the way they're designed and the way they're laid out. And he's saying, yeah, that meets the master law. So the other option would be that a condition of your special permit be that there's no parking on the pavers. That's an option too.
Mark looked at the plans, details on the plan, the drainage analysis that was submitted to him,
Yep.
with all the stormwater management criteria, the references that it handles the total suspended solids as required to get those credits, if you want to call them, for recharge. He has cross-checked those and has given his blessing as the town's engineer. A hired town engineer,
I
not,
had a copy of that.
I do.
I'm sorry.
I have a copy of this.
Yeah.
his biggest concern on his email was to make sure that the management plan would be in perpetuity with the future owners so that everybody knew the importance of the
Yep, that's right. That's true.
And he was in
That's
agreement.
his copy. I know that was his comment. Conservation. I do remember his comment. That was his comment, that he was concerned about the operation and maintenance. Okay, so that, at this point, that's
Did
my
you see the
recommendation.
recent letter that he replied to he was the only one that wrote on the recent set of plans?
Jane, do you have a copy of that?
Yeah.
This plan went to all 10 departments within
Yep.
the town as required.
That's right.
I have a copy of it here if you need it. Dated May 15th, 2017.
Mm-hmm. Who needs to see it? Pam, do you need it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Mary, could you?
I'd like to see it.
Please, thank you.
Oh,
This one?
Yeah, I think that's the same one. Ah, here we go. This is defer to BOH, health agent, health commissioner, and DPW. It's kind of this.
that was conservation.
Or you giving it to me?
You're welcome to have a copy.
Okay.
It's all record.
This, you're right, this does not mention that. However, let me get that back to you. You know, I feel compelled to do what the right thing is for the applicant. We can't go back. We can't, if we blow this aquifer, we don't have other options.
Well, that's
As a town.
true, but Pam, I think part of what I'm trying to understand is there's a process that has been put forth by the town. We've gone through it. And these documents were submitted to the people that are supposed to support your decision-making with their expertise. And to this point, we've received feedback from different bodies. You've been diligent. But we're at a point where maybe even if the council which you choose to seek, you wanted to bring in, maybe should have been, a few meetings ago. But we're at a point where a decision is, ready to be put forth, and we know nothing else to do but what you've asked us to do. And each meeting, something new keeps coming up that we're not fully, aware of, and it seems to be that that we should be making a decision. I know no other words. I'm a little bit beside myself at this point. Understanding, trying to put myself in your shoes, but knowing that if I was there and I was trying to help make a decision, it has to come from the people I rely on. But we can't bring something in at the nth hour to resolve it when the people you relied on already gave their opinion. I guess
This is not the nth hour. This is why I believe that we must render a decision within 180 days. Because it's understood that questions will come up. Questions have to be answered. Some additional time may be taken while trying to get answers to these questions. So I don't think we're doing our job of aquifer protection if we say, we're going to go to this guy with the first list of questions we can think of, and if anything else comes up, no matter how reasonable it is, can't think about it because that wasn't in our original set of questions. Our regulation is geared to maintaining and protecting the aquifer. It's not geared to rendering a decision on a special permit within 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks. We don't want to unnecessarily hold you up. And believe me, I would not ask for this if I didn't think that a question had been raised that we really have to look at in order to do the right thing. We have a meeting in 2 weeks. We can put you first thing on the agenda for that meeting. Do you think you can get your civil engineer to look at this within 2 weeks? I can also talk to DPW and ask if your guy can't do it, can one of the two PEs at DPW take a look at this analysis with the assumption that we have, say, the maximum number of cars in the driveway? Yes.
Might just ask one question.
Yes.
I know a lot of conversations between the chair and the applicant and so on.
Yeah.
May I just gracefully ask if the other two members have anything to say?
Yes, of course. I do tend to dominate the meeting.
I mean,
I should have asked that.
I just want to make sure that.
I have a question. I'm wondering, so we get the other engineers to look at it. What is going to be their reference point? Are they going to use this UNH stormwater, all that data for their reference? And are they going to come back with
Well, what they have to use is the mass
stormwater? So
Yeah.
if
So they're bound by
they are,
Massachusetts.
but in here it says that they have already, the DPW has looked at it and used that as a reference and said this should be a requirement of the permit. They looked at it and they basically signed off on it. So the difference, if I'm understanding you, is the question is that was before there was any question of more vehicles.
Right,
So-
if you had vehicles on the surface, on this permitted surface.
But they're still gonna go by these guidelines, the
Yeah,
stormwater,
they still-
and using the
I would-
permit.
Yeah, they still have to use the same
Again,
guide.
with a driveway or a parking area where
Right.
these materials are used, it's presumed that at times there will be vehicles in those places.
There
That's
would
why
have to
this
be, even exiting and entering the property. Of course there would
is
be.
not be 100% unoccupied.
But I think this represents a unique situation because you've got 4 individually owned units. If this was a single-family home, you could say, look, you can't park any more than 1 or 2 cars out in this area. But because these are all individually owned, this may not happen, but theoretically, you could have 2 cars in each one of those driveways for each unit, for that total of 8 cars. And now really the area of your permeable paver system that the water is falling on, it's falling on a much smaller area.
Correct.
And
Subsurface.
if it's a very intense rainstorm, a very prolonged rainstorm, I don't know that the calculations that are done based on the whole open surface really hold out. So if there needs to be any restriction placed on parking in the driveway, I hope there isn't, because that's going to be a positive for you not to have that.
Correct.
So I'm a
I wish I
little
had the video
loath to
show you,
say,
but yeah, that's-
yeah, I know, but I still don't think I would do it based on a video. It's just
by the
what's
people
at
that
stake.
approve it, that
Yeah, what's at stake is too important to me.
Now, Mark Wetzel was at the first public hearing we had on the original plan. And he didn't have anything to add. He had already reviewed that.
Right.
Then he just reviewed this second plan, which it has moved the units back a little
Yeah.
and put garages in. I understand what you're saying, because
Yeah.
we could have 8 cars there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't assume that each unit is only going to have 1 car. So what specifically, and I think this is what Trish was getting at, if Mark goes by the mass standards, what specifically are you looking for him to review again that you think
Well,
will change?
What I want to have reviewed are I think it is in one of these documents. I want to know the capability of, so Mark is looking at this and saying, yes, just like I did last week, mass stormwater requires 8 inches in this layer. Oh, no, it requires 12 inches. Okay, so we'll change 8 to 12. Mass stormwater requires, maybe the distance between here and where you actually have the drainage tubing. So he's looking at the specifications of this thing in relation to mass stormwater.
Right.
What I'm asking is, what then is the impact? And I don't think this is really covered under any standard review of anything, but what is the impact of having 8 cars in those driveways? So that would require someone to do some calculations and say a car takes up approximately X square feet. So we would assume then that under the maximum rainfall conditions that were laid out in their application and the analysis that they did, if we take away these 8 chunks of open surface and have that same amount of rainfall falling on whatever the remaining surface is, then we're not going to have water washing out into the street. We're not going to be washing out everything that's in the cracks here that provides the permeability. So it's kind of a situational analysis, really, that I'm looking for.
I think it's an engineering aspect of it. That is Mark a professional engineer?
Yes.
Yes, and his
And the
assistant
engineer
is
works
too,
for them
Dan
also.
is, they
Correct.
both are.
Again, any subsurface drainage system is, the water goes in, it could go in at one point and it's going to spread out. Again, that's the engineering behind it. And if I may request, if there is an additional hearing, Would you request that Mark or somebody from that department be here to answer the technical questions that may be
Maybe
beyond the
Dan,
board's?
Dan would come,
Yes,
he's
yeah.
right around the corner in Harvard.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can request, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're
Yeah,
going to
that's
be
true.
available.
And if his response is, it's no problem. You can put 8 cars in this driveway, you can put 10 cars in this driveway, it's no problem. Then maybe he doesn't need to come. If they have some sort of determination that is not what we're hoping for, then yes, I do think it's important for someone to come to be able to explain how they got there. So I would accept your civil is PE.
He is.
Yeah,
He actually
okay.
has financial interest in 49 East Main Street. So when I call him,
Well, I'm
Would it be
only
30, 35, 40
really
years?
thinking of that
40 years.
as an alternative because I'm sure Mac's got a full slate of projects. So I kind of want to see who's available, sooner to do this. Would you feel comfortable if it were one of the PEs at DPW that were doing it? Would that
I'm
make
gonna
you feel comfortable?
have someone.
You're gonna have your guy do it anyway. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. And whatever meeting you have,
Yeah,
I'm going to try my best to get him here.
that would be great. That would be great, especially if he has, any
This
concerns.
is the specialty is water drainage.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
He sounds like a good guy to do this, so
Yes, he
if you could get that done in time, that would be great. But that's my recommendation at this point. But we're a 3-person board, so.
I have a question, speaking as a resident of the town,
Yes.
okay? And I might have missed this, but those pavers, when the guys come in to plow snow, I know it's a problem when you have uneven surface when you're plowing. Is that a problem with these pavers, any heavings and stuff from the frost heaves?
They could be moved, but again, the
Yeah.
whole maintenance plan is that they're to be repaired immediately. just like-
That is in the maintenance plan,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And yeah,
The
the
goal
plow
is
can
good
catch a
paver
lip
is
with
gonna
any
keep his blade
paver.
up,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? They're gonna keep their blade up, they're not gonna wanna be responsible for having to replace all these,
Right,
Yeah.
so.
right.
And another question I have, as a citizen, is if his engineer comes and he has a financial interest in the property next door,
Yeah.
is that a conflict of interest? Does that constitute a conflict?
That's one of those,
That may be,
if he's a PE, in a way, he's answering to a higher power.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I'm
no,
just
you
wondering.
have an interesting point. I don't know the answer to that
Okay.
question. I'd have to find that out.
And may I ask one more question?
Yes, of
For
course.
a moment. As mentioned at a previous, not this board, but another board meeting,
Mhm.
so you get one opinion and an opposing opinion, now we have a 1-1 tie.
Yep.
How does the tie get broken?
I think the way you do any tie, you can go to a third.
have a third opinion?
I'm just asking
Ano-
because
Yes.
I've been presented that problem with the Board of Health where, okay, we have one good water test, and one bad water test.
Yeah, I know.
How do you break the tie? And I'm just saying, we already
Yeah.
we have our engineer putting his stamp on it. He's a PE,
If,
he's responsible
To a higher power.
to a higher power,
Yep.
his license and his work and what he's stating in all these reports, as well as your engineer saying, okay, so we already have 2 votes in yes, that this is a proper system.
I think what would be really helpful, and I run into this with your PE as well as the DPW, that I don't see in any of this documentation that anybody looked at kind of that worst case analysis of, say, you've got 8 cars in the driveway.
Again,
And
it's
that's-
in the technology, but if that's what we need, then we'll.
So it would probably be a good idea if you had your PE also document that analysis, because then we really
It is
will
an RNA
have.
drainage analysis right here, that the technology takes care of it.
And this drainage analysis discusses,
That surface
That
area,
worst case
1,200 square
condition?
feet, is to handle the rain that hits there and distribute it equally amongst the field underneath.
Because remember what Neil was trying to explain.
it's only distributed equally if it's
There's
landing
no car sitting
equally.
on them.
Right.
Well, it's only if there's a roof over the whole 1,200 feet. You could have a hose running right next to here, and it's gonna filter into the, it could make a puddle this big, or a wet area this big, but once it gets into the ground, it's gonna infiltrate throughout the whole area.
At some point, that's gonna run off.
It's sized based on the percolation rate below it as well.
But that's what the whole contiguous 1,200 square feet is about underneath. That's 2 inches, 2 feet deep. It's,
Post-development conditions, samples, process 6. Okay, for one thing, your drainage calculations discuss a total of 6 residential units.
Which page you on?
Page 1. Proposed post-development runoff patterns will generally continue as in pre-development. Well, there are no cars parked there in pre-development. So I can only assume that he is assuming a condition of a runoff
6 residential
pattern.
units are correct. There's 2 in this building, 2 in this building, and 2 in this building. So there's a total of 6 residential units. 3 2-family units.
Ah, you're including the one in the back there. Yeah, okay. So proposed post-development runoff patterns will generally continue as in pre-development.
Again, that's what all these calculations support on the following pages, is if we were to do any development, you have a infiltration of what is it, 1 point.
And you also don't normally
Page
have 8 cars packed.
But again, that's what the technology is. Okay,
Look.
we're going round and round.
We are going around and around. I think it's time to make a decision on,
I have one more
On
question,
this.
if I may.
I'm sorry, yes.
As a resident,
yes.
what happens, and again, this is situational, what happens when the ground freezes? And then you have a rainstorm on top of it, which is quite common. What happens then?
the porosity of the stone underneath can't freeze because of the medium that it is. So because of the gaps that we're compelled to maintain in the porous pavement, receive the water, even though it's been cold or the ground has frozen. What's beneath and what minimizes the heaving is the fact that the stone beneath and the ground beneath is not frozen. It's 2 feet deep of crushed stone.
Really? So there's gonna be no ice on the pavers?
Sometimes there will be, but in
Because
a
there's lots
rainstorm,
of,
probably not.
in that 10 feet that you could stack all the snow, you're not gonna have any ice. So none of that sand, salt, water is gonna run off into the street, into Pond Street, which is very narrow.
Well, it's raining now, so it's gonna go into the pavers. And the people that live there clear the
But
clear
she's
the
talking
snow.
about when it's, during the winter time when the ground's frozen. That's what she's
Yeah.
expressing.
Right.
Which
And the
I
ground does
explained.
freeze, and it becomes.
The
a-
ground underneath, well, okay. The ground underneath is not frozen.
Okay.
It's packed with lime dust, it's frozen. Add lime dust and water, it's frozen, you get concrete.
Cement, concrete.
Yeah, if you could have your engineer do an addendum to the drainage analysis that looks at that specific worst case as far as having some areas, fairly large areas of the driveway surface covered by something, we'll assume that they're cars, I guess, it's the most likely. And I suppose somebody could park, a guy across the street from he's had a camper parked in his driveway for 3 years now, it hasn't moved. So that's my recommendation. I'll talk to Mark Wetzel. I know you're gonna have your civil do it anyway, you said. Anybody, any discussion?
If you're going to ask him, I would ask, we next meet on the 12th at 5:30.
Yep.
Dan has always come to meetings sometime. He comes to Board of Selectmen meeting.
Yep.
Rather than Mark, who lives way out of town. Dan's right around the corner in Harvard.
Yeah, I will request that he do the analysis by then. That's what we're.
Well, if you feel that somebody needs to be here.
I feel like we need a person here because look what happened tonight. We need more discussion, professional discussion between the engineers.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, that it would be useful to have someone that is, kind of knowledgeable.
Another question,
Additional.
Pam, did Mark Wetzel have, just from looking at the plans, did he have the product,
No, I'm gonna send that to him when I ask him if he can.
so
do
when
this.
he signed off, he didn't have knowledge
He didn't have the
of
specs
this?
for the paving system, yeah.
So he signed off on it even without knowing about,
Yes, not knowing
No, I mean-
specifically what it is, knowing that it was going to be a permeable
Well,
paving
it was
system.
referenced in our detail as specifically what we were using, so he could have gone on.
Oh, did you have was that always in there? Okay, yep.
All we
then-
changed was the 8 inches and the 2 new notes, but it
Okay,
says right
no,
on
you're
there.
right, I do remember that was there, yeah.
And
you're
I know
right,
many
you're right.
engineers, we have them in our office that review plans and they'll.
Yeah, would
We'll
look
look
at
out.
that.
I
Yeah.
just want to be clear on that
That's
because
fine.
I just feel like I feel your frustration, but
That detail was on the plan.
Yeah.
That he looked at minus
Okay.
the couple notes we changed or added.
Okay. And before you leave, can you give us your contact information? So
absolutely.
I can just see how progress is going with your guy and I'll let you know what is going on
so
with mine.
for the next meeting, you're proposing that there be an engineer from this gentleman, and then we have representation from our DPW, and we have Neil, so we'll have 3
Yeah,
opinions.
I would like
May I
DPW
ask
to do it as well
why-
if they can.
Why do you need his contact information? I mean, we're the applicant.
No, you're the applicant, but if Mark Wetzel,
I think any communication, if I may, I don't know if it should be.
you can be copied on anything that I communicate with
I
him.
just think any outside opinion of the project should be held solely in an open forum and nothing else.
It will be. My only communication with him is going to be, has your civil looked at this? Does
He
your civil
will
have
be
time
here
to
that
do
night
this?
and he can bring his civil and the information that night. I mean, I don't.
Actually, I'm gonna need information from her ahead of time to provide to my PE, so he can review it ahead of time. So
It's
that,
all public record.
I understand that,
Okay.
Yeah.
Which can be
That's
done
all.
right from the board.
that's
of
all,
health
but if there's
administrative
anything
chamber.
missed, they can shoot it to me.
I just don't want to be left in the dark and blindsided.
No, absolutely.
And I just
you won't
want
be.
everything that's discussed in contradiction to what we're proposing to be in an open setting.
We're not going to discuss anything.
All right, just
That's
want to make
open
sure.
meeting law.
Just wanna- I
Any
know, I
discussion
just-
happens here.
Just want to make sure it
It's
was on
just-
video, that's all.
Yep.
Yep.
It's just going to be, do you have it? Is the guy going to be here? Has
Fair
he
enough.
looked at
Again, I
it?
just want to make sure the audience knows that.
And I can most certainly copy the 2 of you on any of those communications,
That
so
would
you
be-
know exactly what's
Appreciate it.
going on.
Thank you.
So we're kind of, by proxy, possibly using, his civil as an independent reviewer, or
What I will do is I will email to Jane tomorrow morning
yeah.
PDF of this revised plan
Yeah,
and the revised O&M.
So we're continuing this to a 3rd night, is what the motion should be right now?
That's what I would suggest, yeah. To the June 12th, to
Okay.
our next regular meeting.
All right, so then I will make that motion then. And our intention is to vote on June 12th.
Our intention is to vote. My intention would be to vote when I have that analysis to look at. If his civil is out for 2 weeks and Matt can't do it, then we're gonna have to look at how else
Well,
can we get it done, and
well,
I'll
that-
do that.
Okay, but that isn't quite helpful to me. I think that this is a project that certainly is very important to us.
Yeah.
However, the wells and their health certainly are important to the DPW.
Yep.
So I would think that this should be a priority of his, and that we should definitely have a response from him
Yep.
and Dan here at that meeting, so that we can put this issue to bed once and
I
for all.
certainly would hope so. I don't
Well-
know either of their schedules, but I certainly
Well,
hope so.
Again, I guess I'm not making myself clear.
You're making yourself very clear. I cannot promise you, Mary, that somebody else is
No, we
going to do
can't
something
speak
on
for
a certain
somebody
date.
else, but when you explain to them the importance of it and the
As
need
I
to
intend
have
to.
someone here, then I feel that's what they're getting paid to do.
That's right. They're getting paid to be the DPW. I have no idea what else is on their schedule.
Wow.
My desire is to get this resolved at our next meeting.
And that is why I was trying to make the motion that way, so that we need to, at some point, take a vote on
Right.
this. You've brought out your questions for tonight. We've listened to a gentleman from the audience. That's why I'm saying that it needs to be a priority for them to respond and have someone here at that meeting on the 12th.
Yes, I think that needs, you're right. I think that needs to be a priority.
Yes.
I would not make the motion that we are going to vote at the next meeting, because if we don't have the supporting information to do that, I don't know how we can.
Well, we need to have it. It has to be. I know what you're saying. We are a volunteer board. We're elected, but we're volunteers. They are paid to work for the town.
I understand you,
Do
Mary.
what's best. So
I cannot put a cattle prod to that.
I'm not asking you to.
And we cannot vote until we have the information we need. It is my sincerest hope that we will have everything we need on June 12th, so we can be done with this.
Yes, we should be.
We should be. Sorry,
It's
yes.
a matter, yeah, and I'm speaking now as the administrative person here.
Yeah.
Administratively, when you have a public hearing, you leave it open until all answers are answered, or all questions are answered. A public hearing is a process.
I understand
And
all
with
about
no
that, Jane.
date
I understand, and I don't need you to explain the public hearing process. I've gone through enough of them over the
I think
course
she's
of the
explaining it
years.
to
though.
me.
No, she wasn't. We have been going through this process for a long time, and I think, in fairness to everyone, we need to do our job.
We have been going through this process for 2 weeks. This application was presented to
Yes,
us a couple of
but-
weeks ago.
This new revised plan, because on the original one, was changed. They came back to us and we said, no, that it's been such a change, we have to have
That's
another
correct.
public hearing.
That's correct.
And we want to make sure that all the questions are answered so that we can make a decision one way or the other.
Absolutely.
So that's why I was trying to make this motion to, again, continue the public hearing so that it is the first thing on our agenda on June 12th at 5:30 p.m.
Yes.
Mary, or Pam, may I just add that this whole package of information was submitted to the board on April 11th of this year. And
You
we had it-
submit on April 11th.
Correct, I'm just saying. And we
Once
had a
again, the
meeting at the end of April.
discussion,
We had it, you had a meeting with us at the end of April, I believe, or the beginning of May?
that was
First
in
May, because we
May
only
1st.
had one meeting in April because of the second meeting we had town elections, so we only have
So it
one
was the
meeting.
May 1st?
Yes.
I know because I was out of town and Rob filled in.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
We
it did.
established, we had a conversation that night about the project.
Yes.
The intent of that meeting was to select a date for the public hearing. Although we did veer off into discussion of the plan, the intent of that meeting was to select.
And to see if the changes were minor or major.
Right.
To warrant another.
So it wasn't really.
Because we already had a special permit on a similar project.
Yep,
Okay.
That's
Just
correct.
want to make sure it was,
Mhm.
all right.
So the plan is June,
I don't know, we have a motion?
I believe she
I
seconded.
I seconded.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that will be the
So
first thing on our
yep.
agenda, and that's
We're
how
gonna
I
continue
phrased
to
the
the June
motion.
12th.
Mark wants to know what day.
5:30, June
June
12th.
12th, 5:30.
It'll be first thing on the agenda.
thank you.
And, yeah, if you could get that situational
Yeah.
evaluation done by your guy, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
I took this, the last day, I think this was around this plan he gave you.
I know what you're saying about Pine Street. I live on one of the little dead ends that you take a right on Pine Street, you take a left on Fletcher, you take a right, and that's my little dead end street, dead ends of the pond. So Pine Street is, that's how I get out.
It's extremely narrow.
It's really,
Especially
so I
after they
understand
did the
it's
nice,
certain.
they did the
That's
nice
not our concern.
sidewalks.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
is
That's a
extremely,
plan- that's
this
a
was,
planning
yeah,
board.
I originally thought it was only one unit. And I was out of town when whatever, but I will be at any of the zoning.
Yes, it looks like planning board, so if you will just write your name and number on that, and I'll give you my info here.
And Todd, you don't have an email address?
I did, I put it right here,
Yeah.
tjsboxer@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Remember
just
the
saw
last
that.
time I said the planning board will never meet the week of 4th of July? They're not, they're meeting the weekend
Yeah,
after.
I'm meeting the following week.
Okay.
I own 49
feel
East
like
Main
at
Street,
what
3
point do
East
we
Main Street, 7 and
not
9 East
trust
Main
our
Street, and 3 Linden Court, 199
Town
West
expert.
Main Street, 193 West Main Street.
To say
Yes.
it's not again.
And my problem for me is I
You
missed.
should be mayor, you own the town.
No. I missed this meeting,
Right.
and what happened to me, this happened to me in Leominster one time, and I wound up with a loading dock next to me. And once it's done, it's over, you can't go back.
It's my regular business card
Yes.
at my board of representatives.
Okay.
It's vital.
I
No, I
understand
know.
that, but what
And I
I'm,
think Dan will come.
but what I'm getting at is
And
the
the
original.
financial,
this,
my PE is
Yeah.
my
By
father.
the
The only reason he has any
stormwater.
financial
Yeah,
interest
that's
is
awesome.
he holds a
reference.
note
I
for
know,
the
and
house.
that's what he used, and he said, okay.
So he doesn't financially gain unless I don't pay him. But
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Civil engineers, one on
Now,
our payroll
has
and
has
one
the
on their
meeting been
payroll.
adjourned yet,
And
or
they
is
do
it still open?
have to answer to a higher power legally, and they
Did we
both
adjourn yet?
have said that.
Well, the
We
hearing-
voted that we're gonna continue.
We
Yeah.
Did that constitute adjournment?
Well, I think the motion, we're adjourned because our meeting tonight was strictly the public hearing. It was
Yeah, that's
not
true.
our-
Okay.
So we adjourn.
Okay.
Jane, I know how to run
So
the
let's-
meeting. Stop
So let's just
telling
do
me.
it for the
It's
sake
a-
of,
A motion to adjourn and it's 7 o'clock.
okay.
I second.
All right, motion
Okay.
carries, I'll say aye.
Aye.